Ma'am, sir, wag mo munang isend yan. I mean, yung resume mo, wag mo munang isend. I-edit ko muna. Oh, hi mga ma'am and sir! Nandyan na pala kayo. Actually, nandito ako sa coffee shop ngayon, but I'm having my osmanthus tea. Ayan, tignan nyo. Even in the middle of the summer, I'm still having my hot tea. Welcome to China. So, ayan, finally, I'm going to try to re-record the video, this time using my phone. Because when I was using my camera, na memory full po siya kasi I used it when I went home this summer. So, hindi pa ako nakapag-delete. So, ayan, take 2. And I'm sorry if the quality is not that good. Ayan, coffee shop. Ako lang mag-isa. I'm on the second floor. So, thank you so much for patiently waiting. So, first thing first, I will show you 5 simple steps kung paano i-organize at i-put together ang resume. And just a quick disclaimer that this is not the only way to organize a resume. In fact, you can use any format that you want. So I decided to film this better video para ma-explain ko sa inyo ng mas maayos. And so that I can also give you a walkthrough of my actual resume mamaya. But, just a quick heads up, baka magulat kayo on how simple my resume is. Wala pong nakakawaw sa aking resume, pero ito po yung resume na ginamit ko before applying to an international school here in China. But just a quick disclaimer, hindi po ako HR and I'm not a recruiter as well. I'm just simply sharing my personal tips and personal experiences to help fellow teachers aspiring to teach in China or anywhere abroad. Especially to my fellow Filipino teachers. Like when you're sending me messages on Facebook, I really feel for you guys because I know how it felt like when I was still in your situation. So I'm just trying my best to do what I can to help and support you guys. Also, I will share with you some tips on how you can bridge your employment gap from being a stay-at-home mom before going back to the workforce. Tip number 1 is keep it clean and professional. It means just keep it simple. As you can see in my resume, I did not use any fancy graphics or fancy designs. It is very simple at madali lang siyang basahin. Because your goal dapat is that madali lang siyang basahin ng mga recruiters when they're scanning maybe hundreds and thousands of applications. So dapat yung resume mo, unang-una pa lang, it's already catchy. Walang masyadong distraction.
So now we're gonna do a quick walkthrough. So I just put my photo on the top right, and I put my basic information on the top left. So I started with my name, followed by my address at the time, and then my email address, which is very funny and old because it's still Yahoo. I don't use that email anymore. It's very old. And my phone number. So even though this is a very old resume, like it's the one that I used way before applying to an international school here in China. Hindi ko na rin pala nilagay yung birth date, height, and weight ko. Nilagay ko lang yung mga basic and very important information talaga.
So keep it clean and simple and professional. Tip number 2. Put the most important information first. As you can see in my resume, I started with my experience. If you're already an experienced teacher, start from the most recent experience all the way to your early beginnings. And yes, take a moment to just appreciate your early beginnings. For me personally, I started just a kindergarten volunteer teacher sa DepEd. And I also worked at like a small private school. Not much compensation at that time, pero naging parte sila ng ladder ko para umakyat. Wherever you are right now, maybe you're doing a job you don't really like, maybe you're volunteering, but remember, you're building your ladder of experience for the future. Kasi hindi ka pwedeng mag-shortcut. You have to start small, start slow, and take one step at a time. So yung mga experience mo, even though you don't really enjoy them right now, use them as your stepping stone, okay? That's my tip for you, especially sa mga nagsisimula pa lamang. So, once again, appreciate your small beginnings, and I really appreciate DepEd for giving me a chance to be a volunteer teacher for 2 years, and appreciate CCC Capital Christian Center School in Vigan City for giving me opportunity to practice immediately after graduating. Kung fresh graduate ka naman at wala ka pang masyadong experience, you can maybe put your internship or your practice teaching experience, or if you have any volunteer teaching experience or any experience related to teaching. You can include that first. Tip number 3. Don't just list your job titles. Ito ang madalas nating nakakalimutan when we are writing our resume because we just put our job titles and that's it. Actually, it's better if you write your job titles and then underneath, you have to write bullet points of what you actually did while you were doing that job. May mga accomplishments ka ba? May mga specific responsibilities or leadership roles ka bang hinawakan? Or nag-handle ka ba ng mga contests? Or nag-train ka ba ng mga estudyante to join contests and etc.?
So under ng job title ko as a kindergarten and elementary ESL teacher, naglagay din ako ng highlights ng mga ginawa ko during that time. For example, I delivered engaging lessons for preschool and lower primary students, created educational videos to support student learning, and implemented play-based learning for young learners. And also, I want to point out this other job over here. This was actually how I bridged my employment gap when I was a stay-at-home mom. So instead of just leaving the year blank, the employers might wonder, what did you do during this time, right? So I put chief house organizer, or you could also do chief house manager. So when I was a chief house organizer at that time, I did not stop improving myself. I did not stop developing my skills as a teacher. So I actually developed holistic learning activities for young learners. And how did I do that? When my son was a baby, I actually invited other babies too, like other toddlers, to come to our house to play. And I organized like little games for them and gave them some activities like pouring activities. So I also developed and utilized Montessori style learning for young learners, like I said, during Playdate, and created stimulating computer-based educational EFL videos for young learners. Yes, I actually started a YouTube channel at that time, and I was creating talking flashcards like ESL videos, vocabulary videos to support teaching as an ESL teacher. So even though I wasn't actually teaching at a school, I was still making those videos and putting them on my YouTube channel. But I put them on unlisted on YouTube right now because they are mixed with all my other videos. And I'm actually planning to make another YouTube channel to put only the educational videos. So, yeah, I also organize and prepare critical materials for daily living. Dito na yung job ko as a mom. So, of course, I was the one who did groceries. I was the one who did cooking and making sure everyone was fed in the family, right? Being a stay-at-home mom is a big job because you're trying to manage the household while at the same time taking care of a child. So that's how I bridged my employment gap. So nung nag-apply na ako sa private school after being a stay-at-home mom, nakita pa rin ng mga employer that I did not stop developing myself. I did not stop improving myself. So for you, for example, maybe you're not a mom, but dumaan ka sa season na walang trabaho. Think about something na pwede mong gawin or ginawa mo to improve yourself. Maybe you've taken some trainings, certifications, or maybe you did volunteering. Maybe you've taken your master's or PhD. And as a classroom teacher, I also created English lesson plans, developed classroom activities, and graded assignments. Hindi ko nabasahin lahat. You can pause and kind of like see the details.
Parang pinopromote mo yung sarili mo in a truthful way. Sorry guys, may biglang pumasok kaya I had to stop a little bit. One very important tip also is that you don't have to list all the jobs that you did in the past. Isama mo lang yung mga job na related siya sa teaching. Siya, kung nagtrabaho ka sa Jollibee, you don't have to do that. Unless you facilitated training or may leadership role ka, then you can include that. Basically, ask yourself one question. Why would they hire me? Yung trabaho ba na nilagay mo is a reason for the recruiters to hire you? Then you can include that too.
Ayan mga ma'am and sir, naputol na naman yung video kasi biglang dumami yung tao sa coffee shop. Kaya lumabas na lang ako. Nandito lang ako sa labas ng coffee shop. Ito naman yung park sa harap niya. Pero ang ingay naman ng paligid kasi ang daming cicadas. Alam niyo ba ang cicada? In Ilocano we call it orre. Ang ingay-ingay nila sa park. So ayan na nga, nandito na tayo sa tip number 4. This is very important because you can combine your credentials, your certifications, and your skills. So a tip for this one is unang-una, unahin mo yung teaching license mo kung meron kang teaching license. And then yung mga certifications mo, mga trainings mo, lahat ng mga expertise mo. And one tip for the skills is that wag mo lang ilagay yung generic na honest or hardworking or flexible. Instead, you have to list specifically kung ano yung mga expertise mo. For example, I'm gonna show you mine.
Nang una, inuna ko yung licensed professional teacher. I also summarized my years of teaching experience. So I said 10 years of teaching experience in early childhood education across diverse educational settings. So I highlighted the early childhood education part here because I was applying for a kindergarten job at that time. And then I also put competent in Montessori-based teaching and child-centered learning. I also put experience in developing English language learning materials for young learners using both print and digital resources. So I also put proficient in creating educational videos and multimedia learning resources using Microsoft PowerPoint and Filmora. So I also put other skills like Microsoft Office, Canva, Canvas, and PowerSchool.
And finally, mga ma'am and sir, tip number 5 is don't forget to proofread your resume. Sorry, nakikikumpit ako sa ingay ng mga cicadas. Check for grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes, or any formatting error para maging mas presentable yung resume mo. Kasi minsan, kahit konting spelling error or grammar mistake lang, nakaka-turn off yon sa mga recruiters. So just be very mindful of that.
That being said, I actually want to give a shout out to my husband kasi siya po talaga yung #1 editor ko. He's my #1 support. And in fact, siya po yung nagsuggest about doon sa chief house organizer. Kasi at that time, I did not feel comfortable going back to the workforce. Pero siya yung nagsuggest na why don't you put your job as a chief house organizer? Because it was true. So kaya gusto ko rin kayong i-encourage. Don't lose hope just because you were in a season na wala kayong trabaho. Pwede nyo rin i-ask yung colleague nyo or mentor nyo na para tulungan kayong i-proofread yung resume nyo.
Job hunting is a process. So kung wala pang namamansin sa application mo, use that time to keep improving yourself, building your skills, attend some trainings, maybe take some certifications, or even take your master's or PhD. So even if I said in my previous post na master's degree is not a requirement, but you know, kung maraming mga applicants and you have those credentials, then you have a bigger chance of being shortlisted. Keep trying your best. Do not give up, even when you receive a lot of rejections, because I've been there too. I have been rejected many times. In fact, natanggal din ako sa trabaho before when I was pregnant. Don't easily give up just because you face disappointments and challenges. Kasi yun yung mga mag-prepare sa atin for a better future. And most of all, like I always say, don't forget to keep pressing, keep praying, and trusting God in everything you do. So that's all for today, and see you in my next China video. Bye!